we started a newspaper, and many of you, I'm sure, have seen like a Good Times or something like that. You walk into a store, a music store, and you see a free newspaper there. And we did something similar to that. And the first 2 issues came out basically by us going to friends and saying, look, you know, support this effort of ours, take out an ad, see what you can do. And we went to clubs that we were promoting, promoters that we were helping, bands, everything else. And we were able to put out the issues without going out of pocket. The issue was, or the problem was, that we couldn't get anyone to do an interview. Nobody was taking it seriously. No one wanted to be the first to be interviewed. And we had an old Howard Stern interview from my brother, he was a partner of mine, and he had an interview from another newspaper, and we just kind of regurgitated that and used Howard Stern for the first cover. And we figured, all right, maybe that'll start the ball rolling. None of the labels would give us any access to the stars that were out there, the celebrity type interviews. And I remember calling Polygram, and they, you know, basically laughed us off, and they said, listen, get your start with somebody else. We're not putting any of our artists in there until, you know, until you establish yourselves a little more. So after the second issue, we were brainstorming, I guess, in an apartment in Rego Park, and to call this place a mess is an understatement. With pizza boxes, and, you know, we were long-haired guys, and just, you know, it certainly didn't look like a structured office. We had guys sleeping on the floor that were traveling musicians, you know, and they would, you know, just sleep on the corner there. And we had no furniture, and we're trying to think of how to get an interview, how to get a, you know, credible interview. And at the time, I think this is 1986, Bon Jovi, who I know just turned 50, was putting out an album called Slippery When Wet. And it turned out to be a very big album. Everybody knew it was going to be a big album. And Polygram Records, his label, decided that they're going to only give one print interview. It was going to be with the New York Daily News. They cut a deal until the record was released. So they made this deal, and Daily News was, you know, hot at the time, and circulation was up. And they promoted this, and we were promoting it every week. And we kind of jokingly said, and we said, well, what about a Bon Jovi interview when we were brainstorming? And we had a couple of contacts that we thought maybe we can get through, and of course that would have been a little far-fetched. And we had a light bulb go off over our head. And I don't know if you remember a guy named Dan Gear. He was a DJ on NEW. He had just interviewed Bon Jovi on his radio show. And I said, what if we went to Dan here, and we had a contact with him, and said to him, give us your interview, we'll transcribe it, we'll print it, and we'll blast out. We beat the Daily News, you know, we beat them to the punch. You know, we got the first Bon Jovi, and we were kind of laughing about it. But my partner, my other partner, my brother, had a contact there. He was doing the news at NEW. And he said, you know, I'll talk to him. And he spoke to this DJ, and threw the idea past him, and he said, yeah, you got to just put it on the cover. No problem there. You got no competition. You got the cover. And we did this. We printed this exclusive Bon Jovi interview for our third issue. And we went out and we got an education on what a fax machine was. We never even saw one in action. And we bought our first one, I think, for $200. And we blasted this out, this press release out, to everybody you can imagine. I mean, Chinese restaurants, anything that we could, just to blast it, shout it from the highest mountain. And just the fact that we beat the Daily News, and we're going to have this exclusive Bon Jovi interview. And then finally we got this phone call from, I think her name was Linda Walker, the head of publicity, and her attorney from Polygram. And they were infuriated. I mean, absolutely, completely infuriated. And they were screaming on the answering machine before we even got to them. So we called them back, and they had us on speaker, we had them on speaker, and they kept saying over and over, just one word. I just heard them say, they would say, you're dead. You're absolutely dead if you release this. Dead, dead. She turned me over to her counsel, she said, tell him, John, and 3 years of law school, all this guy could say is dead. You guys are actually dead if you do this. I don't know who you think you're being cute with. You're not going to do this. So I'm looking around this place, and I mean, there was a puppy there. I don't understand. There was a puppy there out of nowhere, and he's peeing on the first 2 issues. And we didn't miss the symbolism in that. I mean, believe me. And we're looking at each other, and you got to see the scene. It was just a complete mess. No furniture, no anything. We had this fax machine in the corner. So I said, Linda, you keep saying you're going to make your position clear. And we're dead. What do you mean we're dead? Is Polygram going to hire a hitman and knock us off? What do you mean? And she said, no, wise ass. We're going to sue your man parts. Use the actual term, I'm sorry. And he said, yeah, you're dead. We're going to sue you. You're finished. I'm looking around this apartment. The door is peeing all over the magazines, the first 2 issues. And I said, Linda, counselor, let me make our position completely, undeniably clear. We are absolutely, absolutely, absolutely begging you to sue us. We won't even hire a lawyer. We'll hire a PR firm. And if you could possibly get the New York Daily News and Bon Jovi to sue us as well, we will owe you forever. We'll owe your kids. We'll owe your grandchildren. But let me make it clear. Please, God Almighty, sue us. They never sued us, of course. We beat the Daily News. And the result of that was about 6 months, 150 different interviews. Everybody, Guns N' Roses, I don't know, 6 times, I think. And they were a hot band back at the time. Whitesnake was number 1, Poison, and Metallica. Whitney Houston. I used to, when I told this story, I used to say a very, very bad joke in there, but I think in light of what happened to Whitney Houston, I'll pass on that. But Whitney Houston, we had an interview with, she was number 1 at the time. Everybody you can imagine. Linda Walker called us in 3 weeks with a Kiss interview. Everybody came through and wanted us to interview them after this. And this was a play. And this was something that we decided we're not going to ask permission. We're going to do something. We're going to break through. Nobody's helping us. And we ended up getting a national distributor. Now, we were a free paper, keep in mind. And what and we survived by advertising. Advertisement jumped up. It was tremendous. What we did is we took 10,000 of the issues when we were printing them, and we put a $2 sticker price on them. And we distributed them. And we usually sold about 8,000 of them through record distributors around the country. And we had the hottest interviews. We just had a great couple of years right after that. And I guess that there's a moral to the story. The obvious one is that if you have nothing, you've got nothing to lose. But I think there's something more to that. And it has to do with business and it has to do with politics. Is that no one's inviting you in. Nobody's telling you, hey, come in, we're going to welcome you with open arms. You're going to do it. Every once in a while, you've got to make a play. And we've done it politically. We've done it in business. I mean, I've been nothing but self-employed my whole life. And you guys know, I mean, the majority of you are self-employed. Nobody's going to do anything without you taking aim at it and taking a run at it and making a play. Somebody came to me, Donna knows them for a very long time, Harry Oates, he's out of the Box Productions. And he came to me a while ago, actually, about doing a television show. And I don't know if, I'm sure you guys know John Caracciolo from JVC Broadcasting. He owns about 6 radio stations. He was kind enough to put me on 2 of his stations. It's a show called Turning Point. And I'm interviewing different folks, everybody from Bernie Getz, believe it or not, and Eddie Money. We got Burt Young coming, and Joe Bruno, and Peter King, you mentioned. We have 34, in the can, and we'll be appearing on TV-wise on NBC Nonstop. It's one of their cable channels on April 17th. And I'm being told 45 radio stations around the country by between June and July 1st. And yeah, it's a tremendous amount of exposure. We've got some good people behind us. But expect that we'll be looking for the same type of attention. I'm sure as we get these type of interviews, our stock will rise. But again, the folks here, and again, I appreciate your attention here. I'm sure you go through the same exact thing, whether it's a law firm, a dance company, you go through the same thing. Nobody's out there inviting you in. We're not asking for permission to be in the TV world. I don't know anything about the TV world. Donna's been in it for a long time. I don't know anything about the TV world. But I do know that we have a major still announced. It's a financial institution. We have some very good sponsors, but an international financial institution is going to be our underwriter for the next 26 shows. So I know we'll be on for the next 3 years. And they say content is king, but distribution is King Kong. So we'll see. We'll see how our distribution goes, and keep an eye out. We're going to get a tremendous amount of distribution, syndicated radio, satellite radio. I don't want to say anything to a sign, but I think next week or the week after we'll be signing for that. Everything's evergreen, so the same show will play in Wichita, Kansas in October that could show it in LA in December, and it'd be the same show. All questions are evergreen and so forth. But again, going back to the origins of this, nobody invited us into politics, nobody invited us into the newspaper business, nobody invited us into the music business. The following, well, what we're going to do to follow this is hopefully get some attention, and hopefully we'll establish enough attention to get a national party, a true third major party going. And again, I'm not predicting it to be this year, unfortunately. I can't believe it. I would have looked at this year and just seen a complete mess out there, and I would think that the ideal situation for a major party candidate, a third major party candidate would be this year. We just don't have it. And we hoped for Bloomberg at one point, we hoped for Trump at one point. And by the way, I know you have a friend, he's a mutual friend of mine as well. He's a good friend. He's turned into a very good friend, and I've got a tremendous amount of respect for him. But when, I'm the one, if you Google McKay Trump 2005, I'm the one who got him thinking about presidential. I stayed out of this last one when he was talking about birthing and things like that. I just kind of stayed out of that one. But we certainly cheer him on. But I'm not convinced Donald's serious about running ever, and his ratings go up every time he talks about it, and that's all great. But I mean, ultimately, we'll see how that goes. Let me close there. If there's any questions, I know we got a whole bunch of people out there that might have different questions. Any questions, anyone?